I liked RWBY Volume 6, Episode 2. I literally can't believe I said that. I actually found myself interested, invested, not taken out of it by anything but RWBY's voice on a few occasions, and I left the episode wanting more. That's not to say the episode is perfect at all, but it's certainly decent. So I guess I should make comments on the intro first and foremost, because I haven't done that yet. Frankly, I don't like it. I fucking love the guitar riff at the start. I mean, that shit makes me bang my head in the metalhead way. But afterwards, I have a harder time understanding KCD than I do most death metal bands. Also, I can't help but interpret Crow drinking and being dragged by Grimm as his alcoholism literally dragging him to hell. And whatever goes out to RWBY just makes me think of that thing from the manga. I also seem to be the only person who isn't a fan of the more anime-style editing present. It's not that I dislike it per se, but more that I don't see how it's so special. And Salem's angry face is fucking hilarious. It's like Salem just can't look at all like a scary figure and is just perpetually funny. And for the previous Ozpins, well, here's some dick in a wetsuit, there's knockoff Jace Bellerin, and there's Steve from accounting. All good for John to get a smooch with Oscar though. And I know people like to think Cinder's fighting Neo, but I'd like to imagine she's just having a spasm. And by God, the action in the intro has so much more energy flow and excitement than the actual one, but I don't want them to reuse the intro animation. Again. Honestly, I don't like the intro, but it's not terrible. Volume 2 is still my favorite. However, I will say one of my issues with the episode itself is the first chunk of it. Cinder here doesn't look or move like she's on the water. The first time I thought she was in some sort of empty magic void because she's moving so weirdly. It looks like her top half is moving while her bottom half is suspended in the air. I'm also amazed that this pond is so deep that those giant rocks in Volume 5 aren't even noticeable. And something about the 2D effects and the 3D plane involving the water also look kinda weird. Then we see why still doesn't give a fuck about going to Atlas. We gotta go to Atlas.
That's exactly what I said, yes.
That annoys me. No, it doesn't. Yeah, I guess you're right. Nora talks about finally getting out of this house, which doesn't make the last volume any better, guys, but thank you for noticing one of the 10,400,069,069 complaints we had. One thing I like, Crow gives us exposition. There's minimal visuals, but still some. He's not explaining it to people who already know. He's just explaining it to them and in turn us. That's good. Blake does this comedy sort of thing, but at least I think it's meant for comedy, but it doesn't work because it's Blake. And Yang makes a joke out of Weiss becoming the ex-heiress of the Schnee Dust Company. Some of that Weiss seemed to get really hurt by and seems to still be bothered by. Also, the lamp growing big isn't mentioned as an ability, but okay. Also, for once, I actually found Nora funny again. Mostly because she wasn't jumping from position to position without any in-between frames and was actually bolting around. Also, Crow's spit take wasn't bad, and Ren reacts in a way that feels like Ren, and this time Nora's keyframe thing actually works to make me chuckle a bit. I like the more when Nora's sad than when she's overly happy. I don't really know if I can say I'm happy with Yang's childish whinging, or that Bumblebee looks completely undamaged from flying out of a train into the floor. I mean, I want to see Bumblebee get slaughtered, but, you know. Transformer reasons. Wait, so this chick's name is Maria Calavera? Calavera? It's in Spanish for skull? Well, that isn't related to a color at all. Saying skull has a color association with white is like saying dirt has a color association with brown. At that point, the color rule is pointless, because anything could be a color. Wouldn't bone make more sense? Bone I can understand. And Maria means the plural of mare, a giant basalt plane on the moon, and sea of bitterness/sorrow. Color anybody? I guess Maria almost works if you consider contrast and color one and the same. So place your bets, will this be a sober rodentia where it means nothing, or an Ozpin where the lack of a color has a meaning? Anyway, ignore her from now on, she's completely unimportant with this episode. But of course, the episode had to stoke some fires in me, because I'm fucking sick of secrets being considered lies or half-truths. Let's define this for the kindergartners of Rooster Teeth. Lie, an intentionally false statement. Example, the relic does not attract Grimm or any danger. Half-truth, a statement that conveys only part of the truth, especially one used deliberately to mislead someone. Example, the relic draws danger with its presence, particularly from people wanting it. Secret, something that is kept or meant to be kept unknown or unseen by others. Example, Ozpin did not tell them what he knew. He remained silent, steadfast in his belief of what was right for them. Tell me, which of these did Ozpin perform? Right, not the ones Yang mentioned, you dumb ass. So Ozpin told them that he didn't tell them because he was worried it would court negativity and anxiety. What, you mean not the same that would be brought from Grimm randomly attacking with no explanation out of nowhere? or being told in the middle of a grim attack and Loki being told to shut the fuck up and forget about it. You know, this is the maiden scenario all over again. Don't just keep this a secret, you dumb fucker. The only one I can see behaving like you'd expect would be John. So Ozpin has a screaming moment, which I liked, particularly because it explains why he does things in such a flawed way, because he's adapted to do so after the more traditional way of doing things failed. Then, blah blah, we learn that there's a Jinn in there named Jinn, which if you weren't aware, has quite a negative connotation. While it in essence holds the exact same meaning as genie, the term Jinn is more commonly associated with the original demonic origin. For an idea on how they were seen, the demon Ifrit is a group of Jinn. Although technically the correct term for a female Jinn is Jinria. So technically the female Jinria is named after the male term for a Jinn. And looking at the credits, it is indeed the Arabic Jinn. I know that Jinri originates from Sind, Pakistan, and not necessarily the same Arabian beliefs as the original Jinn, but they also seem to originate the differences in sexes of Jinn. As before, Jinn was more like a term similar to mankind instead of male, and Jinri was made to take the place of female. I know I'm rambling, but I love ancient folklore type stuff, and I find it hilarious that the 2 episodes of them going to the big science kingdom has involved mythological based entities. Anyway, I don't exactly trust this Jinn because her name implies something more malevolent. For an idea, in pre-Islamic Arabia, they were feared and thought responsible for disease spreading. In Islamic belief, they are said to have been like humans, but corrupted and full of malice due to ignoring all the warnings of God. So, essentially humans nowadays. And they fought against the angels and got their asses kicked. Heck, even nowadays, the Muslims blame mental illness on Jinn possession. So these beliefs hold strong even to today. And while I might find this all unbelievably fascinating, it does make me distrust this Jinn chick.
Jinn?
Nope, never mind, I trust it completely now. Actually, it just... Oh, come on, that's just Paimon. Whatever, however you pronounced it. I can't remember, it's been a while. It's from Magi. The skin, the gold, the hair, the coyness, the... Oh, God, if only it was this.
Aye! 10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
I do like Crow's reaction of,
Calm down, Boner. Calm down.
we see Cinder enter this shady bar with the only hefty character in the series, and yeah, okay, this scene kind of bored me, but it did give Cinder one good line.
Looks like your life savings.
It was somebody's.
Also Malachite, huh? Also, these guys point their weapons at Crow, ignoring everything he's done for them and the fact that he could slaughter all of them right here and right now before they land more than a few hits on him. I'm more annoyed though that Ozpin didn't use his magic here. I mean, I think that would be a rather important time to use it. Maybe he just doesn't care that much. So boom, they reveal this is Salem, and honestly I am so glad this is where it ended because for once I actually wanted to see more at the end of a RWBY episode. Look, there's visuals, there's animation to the exposition. Yes!
Named Salem.
Her parents hated her, but their last name was Massachusetts, so I guess they thought it was funny. So there you go. I'm shocked. I liked this episode of RWBY. Alright, that's all. I'm gonna leave before I comment on how Yang's boobs are no longer the biggest on the show. Ah, crap.